Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our second session of the STEM So What seminar series. And so, if you were at our first one, where we talked about cryptology and cryptocurrency, you'll probably hear a few of the things that are the same. But want to welcome you, welcome the faculty that came, and family members that also came with them, and of course students. So, welcome. I want to recognize a few folks that were part of this planning for our event. So, Dr. Greta Bowling, Jennifer Anderson, mathematics, Elaine Coleman, and James Hobbs, Prameet Jatka, Amanda Wisnat, and yours truly. And I also want to recognize Diana Wagner, who is our career specialist. She has some wonderful information, and Candy, and Candy also. And so as you get an opportunity to take a break or move around, please visit Ms. Wagner and get the information that she has. So the first question is, what is this? So if you haven't been here before, we need to really answer that question. What is STEM So What? Well, we have a need to inform those that have decided to go along a STEM-related path. We want to inform you. We also want to inspire you. We want you to get a sense of belonging. And so we have developed a planning team led by Dr. Bowling. We have planned a series of seminars, or really a series of these sessions, to help do that. And so to get you engaged, to get you talking, to get us talking, sharing, and really to find out what you need. And so this is an opportunity to engage you in some STEM activities. The phrase "so what" translates to what's the importance of it. So when we say STEM, so what? We know that STEM is important, but we have to answer the question, so what's important about it? And so these sessions are designed to answer that question. Last session, you saw that computer science, information technology is very important to everyone because it affects not only finance and this cryptocurrency and decisions about what's going on in the world with cryptology and coding, security, and all of those things is very important. In fact, the Fort Worth area is one of the major hubs of this computer science, computer technology, information technology in the nation. We have a lot of businesses that are attracted to the foundation that we have here in the Fort Worth, North Texas, and Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So this evening, we're going to see a display or a session or a presentation on engineering team behind the soldier. I'm excited about that because I'm a veteran, and so I know that we have done a lot in the military to digitize the force, to make it not only more lethal, but to make it more safe and to reduce the amount of injuries that occur because of the mission of the military. So I'm excited to see what our presenter has to share with us. We have 3 more sessions planned for next semester. We're going to do something in February, something in March, and something in April. And so I want you to stay tuned to what those are, and I'll announce and give you a little bit more details towards the end of this presentation. And so it's okay as folks come in and get settled. And of course, if you need to leave, just do it quietly. Make sure you sign in using the QR codes that's on the table and scan those in, or if your mobile phone doesn't scan in properly, make sure you can, there's also a link or a web link that you can type into your phone to get to that information. So why is it important to inform you and inspire you? Well, we know that STEM is relevant, and we know that we have a commitment to recruit, retain, and to see you complete the programs and the pathways that you've decided to undertake. And so that's why STEM is important, and this STEM so what is relevant. We need for you to be successful. We need a more diverse and a more capable STEM force. Professionals who have this wherewithal to apply beyond the academics, to apply the knowledge of STEM to things throughout our society. In Tarrant County College can make an impact. We are one of the largest two-year colleges in the nation. Tarrant County is the third largest county in Texas, the third largest. Fort Worth is the 13th largest city in the nation. And so we have this diversity of people, diverse interests, and Tarrant County College attracts a diverse population. So we need to leverage that and allow those who have an inspiration, a passion in STEM to be successful. What I'm going to do shortly is just introduce a couple of individuals. But first I just want to mention some opportunities. Some of you participated in the Jim Boland math competition that occurred in early November, early this month. And so there's another competition, part 2, in the spring, February 24th. Why the Jim Boland emphasis? Jim Boland recognizes and rewards those students who participate and do well. There are awards and opportunities to gain scholarships, gain award monies, gain special recognition. And so it has been possible for students to obtain either partial scholarships or full scholarships to some of the four-year colleges because they were successful on the Jim Boland math competition. It is open to all community college students. Whether you're STEM related or humanities related, you can still participate in the Jim Boland competition. And so if you are questioning whether it is for you, it is for you. There are other internships and research opportunities. I'm going to want some of our faculty, if they are aware of that, to provide that information because we need to inform you of what's possible while you're here at Tarrant County College and along your career path. And so there are other research and internship opportunities. So with that, what I want to do is see if there are any student officer leaders that are leaders or representatives of student clubs here tonight. If so, please stand. Just stand. Stand if you are a leader, a student officer. So just let us know what club you are participating in.
I am the Senator and Secretary of the Pie Club.
Well,
I am President of the Volleyball Club.
wonderful.
I'm the president of the Phi Theta Kappa chapter here on campus.
Okay, wonderful.
I was formerly secretary of the Kiddo Club.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so if you're interested in any of these clubs, please see the representatives, the officers that have set up and introduced themselves. Wonderful. what we're going to do now is just take care of a few housekeeping things. So you are hoping you're enjoying the box dinners. We don't have janitors here, so make sure you police things up as you go. And if you need to use the facilities, if you go out the doors that you came into and just on the other side of the stairwell, the staircase, there are facilities, men and women, on just past these stairs. And so please feel free to use those. As I mentioned earlier, please make sure you sign in to let us know on the scan code that you were here. Many instructors are allowing some type of extra credit points for your attendance. I know I am. And so we want to keep track of who has attended these sessions. At this time, I think we have some prizes and some giveaways that we want to offer. So let me invite Elaine Coleman to come up and award some prizes. If you didn't get a ticket for the draw, please raise your hand and we can get you a ticket.
If you came in a little late and didn't get something to eat, you want to come, this is a good time to come grab that as well.
So we want to make sure your ticket is in the bucket so that we can draw and possibly draw your ticket. Elaine, you want to share with the audience what we have?
This is always a fun part, right, of this dim soda. We've got some fun TCC swag. So this is a drawstring bag, and it comes with things in it. We've got a notebook. And the super fun buff, okay? So we've got 5 of those. We also have a sling backpack. This is a little bit sturdier, a little bit bigger. And we're going to be giving away some t-shirts towards the end like this.
Okay. Okay. So here's both.
One more.
You said, oh, never mind.
Yeah, last time they had like.
Okay, first one, 8404, the last 3 digits, 777. You have the last 3 digits, 777.
Hey, that's a good number.
8404777.
No? Okay, that'll be mine. Oh, no. Okay, we'll go again.
Okay, how about this one? It ends in 786. 786.
Okay. One more time.
Okay, 8404790. 790 are the last 3 digits.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Last 3 digits are 772. Another one, 804.
Come on, 802.
No?
8404. 804.
Okay.
Okay. Last 3 digits, 767.
someone who's very important to this initiative. She's from Lufkin, Texas, and was the first in her family to finish college. She has a bachelor's degree in biology from Stephen F. Austin State University and a doctorate degree, a PhD in developmental physiology from the University of North Texas. As a faculty of Tarrant County College, she is a recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Exemplary Teaching. It's the highest award that we offer for Tarrant County College, recognizing the excellence of teaching. She's been instrumental in creating a partnership program between Tarrant County College and the Marine Creek Collegiate High School to foster a culture of environmental awareness, informing land leaders of tomorrow, as well as leading the creation of the Marine Creek Nature Discovery Center. She's been the Life Science and Horticulture Department Chair, applying her superb leadership in progressing STEM disciplines. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to our Dean of the Mathematics and Science Division, Dr. Greta Bowman.
Thank you, Dr. Lowen. I want to welcome you all here this evening. I'm very excited to hear our speaker, and I get the pleasure of introducing our speaker so you know a little bit about where he comes from. And so I'm just going to read you this outline here so that you are familiar with that. So, Dave Coleman is a staff electrical engineer specializing in components at Elbit America. That's a defense company that does subcontract work for prime contractors such as Lockheed Martin and Boeing. He has been with Elbit for 25 years in several different engineering roles after joining them right out of college. From design engineering to sustainment engineering to engineering management to subject matter expert in component engineering. He has watched Elbit grow from a single site in the U.S. employing 186 people working on legacy F-16 designs to a thriving major contractor in defense with thousands of employees scattered over 12 different engineering and production sites across the United States. In high school, Dave never dreamed of engineering at all, but was quite astute, finishing third in his class and participating in many sports and musical activities. Very well-rounded. The son of a high school math teacher and a USDA research scientist, math and science came easy to him, and his passion was marine biology. However, Oklahoma is not known for its long sandy beaches or fish-laden barrier reefs, so his dad introduced him to engineering instead and recommended an engineering program at Oklahoma Christian. Motivated by many church group friends attending there rather than the challenge of the new technology, he agreed and began his journey for a degree in electrical engineering. Although his desire was to do biomedical engineering and design movie-inspired prosthetics such as Luke Skywalker's robotic hand, his first job out of college was a job in U.S. Defense as a design engineer for an unknown company that built F-16 parts for Lockheed Martin. As the company grew and added a wider variety of products on many different military platforms, Dave has built his group of component engineers to serve every site here in the U.S. and collaborate with colleagues in 4 different foreign countries, primarily in Israel, home of their parent company, Elbit Systems, one of the largest defense companies in Israel. His team is the go-to control group that the other engineers rely on for component selection, obsolescence management, material substitutions, and counterfeit prevention. Dave has no spare time. All of his time outside of sleep and work is spent volunteering for his older daughter's high school band events, coaching his younger daughter's soccer team, organizing Elbit's recreational soccer group, playing on 2 different teams of that soccer group, serving as a leader at the family's church, taking care of all the DIY projects at home, and helping his wife plan their fantastic family vacations. Faith and family are his foundation. Trying to fit in everything is his favorite hobby of all. I want you guys to help me welcome Dave Coleman.
thank you. Yeah, I was not interested in engineering really when I graduated high school. I didn't know what a lot of the parts were that would lead into the different things. It was not my hobby. But I'm never afraid to back down from a challenge, so
lets me handle anything. Acquire the targets fast and fire my guns first. What we call look, lock, launch. And really close rapidly the sensor-to-shooter loop. Elbit Systems Iron Vision really improves my operational capability. Vision.
Okay, so technology is lovely. As long as it works. So I'm, let me see, not sure how this goes to make it big. Anyway, I can just, oh, that takes away from some of the display settings.
Swap, click on the question.
That one?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. It's just duplicating my screen, which is, it's okay if it needs to be.
We tend to have this problem in class also.
Hey, that works. There we go. Okay. So, grew up in Oklahoma. Attended Oklahoma Christian. Got an engineering degree there. Married Dr. Coleman. Met her on the Studies Abroad program there. That's the only way engineers can find a wife, is by going out of the engineering department labs and stuff. I spent many nights there till 4 or 5 a.m. with some of my cohorts, and we would be doing engineering projects, mainly because we procrastinate. But you know, it's one of the things where we're just up, and then we have class at 8 o'clock, and so we go until the weekend, and then we crash. So, fun time in college. It was a lot of fun. Got 2 daughters, Elise, 15, and Joy, 12. This is one of our fantastic vacations at Grand Teton National Forest, the national park, I guess. I do lots of stuff at church. I'm a soccer coach. I play it. I'm a gluten-free researcher on the fly. My daughter has celiac disease, so it's great to have technology so I can find a place to get her food anywhere where we are. Do it yourself. As an engineer, I refuse to pay somebody else for what I can do perfectly well on my own. So if it's not too hard, I try to do it. And then I'm at work. I'm a lead component engineer at Elbit America. So. All right, so you might recognize some of these people if some of you are old enough to remember the old 007 movies. You have 007, and he had his James Bond had his sidekick Q, which this is the one that I always remember seeing. I haven't watched any of the new ones, but apparently this is the new guy that does all the gadgets and stuff. So that's to me what I think of when I think of an engineer, somebody who develops all the gadgets that the spies get to play with, that the soldiers get to play with. Black Panther, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that recently. His sister, Shuri, is the chief scientist in Wakanda. She makes all the cool gadgets and stuff. The cars that she can drive from halfway around the world. That's pretty cool. And all the DC heroes, have you noticed that Superman can't do anything without having his tech specialist? Supergirl, Flash, all of them have their tech people. The person behind the computer is like the Spider-Man. He had his friend. Do I get to be the guy behind the computer? Yeah. So that's a lot of time. That's what an engineer is. A lot of things. I had no idea what I was getting into, and so what college does for you is prepares you for anything. And then once you get a job, then you specialize in that particular field. So, some of the books that I got, like Fluids and Thermodynamics, I have not touched that book in 25 years. Wish I'd have sold it, but I didn't. So now I'm stuck with a $200 book or whatever it costs back then. You guys don't even have books now. I understand. So some do. And so we have that. A lot of times, some of the stuff that we learned in college, like machine language, you don't have to, in engineering, you might have to take it for, I guess, historical purposes, but they have machines that do that for you, so you don't have to create the machine language, you don't have to do all that stuff. So, all right, so an engineer. In one word, if you could say what is an engineer, I would say a problem solver. Somebody who takes whatever they're given and uses the tools he has, or a good cell phone to Google, and you figure out how to do it, how to fix it. So it's a problem solver. I had one of my colleagues, he was going to an interview for TI, and he said, they asked him about stuff. He said, I'm a problem solver. And they said, okay, thank you very much. And after the interview, they were like, okay, goodbye. He says, are you telling me you don't have problems? And they were like, well, we have all kinds of problems. He says, that's what I do. So are you telling me you don't need someone who's good at solving problems to work for you? So he talked him into a job. And then he said, but so there are many kinds of engineers. I tried to think as many as I could. Aerospace engineer, we have a lot of aerospace engineers because we have a lot of products that go on fighting vehicles, fighting aircraft for the military. A lot of the stuff we do is not necessarily the flight safety stuff, the stuff that makes the airplanes fly, but more of the stuff that goes inside the aircraft. So aerospace engineer, one of our aerospace engineers is the one who works with the UAVs. This is one of the things that we do. This is the Sky Striker, I believe. And so it's for reconnaissance. And it's one that we had designed, and basically you have a laptop, and it tells this where to fly, and it goes around on its own. You don't have to steer or anything, you just type in the coordinates. I want to spy on this neighbor, and it flies around with the camera pointing at that neighbor from all angles and just stays up there out of sight, humming quietly along while it's got taking full high definition visuals of the backyard or whatever it is. So they use that. It fits in a fairly small case down here. You saw me put it together, but it's something that they can do reconnaissance for. Our parent company, we'll get into that a little bit later, but so the aerospace engineer does some of the stuff, some of the design work to make this fit together, snap together, be lightweight. If you look at this, it looks huge. You can lift it up pretty easy. That's one of its automated landing system, landing parts. Anyway, it's not very heavy. You can hold it with one hand, but you obviously don't want to try and throw it either. So it's got this engine on it, and it can fly really well. All right. Any questions so far? We might see it fly off. All right, aerospace. Mechanical engineer. This is, everybody says mechanical engineers. Those are the guys that fix your cars, right? No. Yeah, those are mechanics. Mechanical engineer gets to design the chassis, the hardware, for each one of these units. This is a commander's tank station, goes in the Bradley fighting vehicle. It's like a tank. This is the helmet, and I'll talk more about these in a little bit. They design the helmet, the fit, the stuff that goes on it. This helmet has a display here that is fairly heavy. So what the design engineer is given is this problem. It's too heavy, so the guy keeps going, after a while he's tired and his head keeps flopping forward. So how do you relieve that fatigue? The mechanical engineer adds Velcro to the back, right here, and then he gets a little pouch that can snap on there, and you can put as much weight as you need to balance out the helmet. So they add weight to the helmet to relieve the pilot of helmet fatigue, which I thought was strange, but okay, it works. And this is the extra large helmet. Some of you may want to try it on afterwards, but yeah, they just have this little pouch and then they put tungsten brakes. We call them brakes. It's just a chunk of metal that they stick in the back to balance it out. So we've got an extra large, medium, and small helmet, depending on the person who's using it. So that's kind of the things that the mechanical engineer works on. Civil engineer, they're the ones who build the bridges, the roads, the mix masters, stuff like that. Electrical engineer, many different things within electrical engineering. But design work, designing circuit cards, they go into phones, they go into every kind of electronic device. They build everything inside it to make it work. Radio frequency engineers, RF engineers, they think they are God's gift to technology. They think they're the top tier people because just because you can design electrical design doesn't mean that it's going to work with radio frequency. It's a lot more sensitive. So they think they're very specialized, and we'll just let them keep thinking that. Communications engineers, those are the ones that work on phones and phone networks. One of the jobs I interviewed for was not to design the phone, but was to design the towers that help you get reception and place those towers. So you get to drive around a city. They take a bunch of engineers to a city, and you drive around trying to find where the blackout zones are, and then you figure out where the best place to put the towers are so that you have the fewest towers with the least amount of blackout zones. So that's something the communication engineers do. Controls engineer, that's what I did in college. That's what my major was. That is for robotics, to try to do this stuff, create the robotic hands and movements and stuff like that. Haven't done much with that since I graduated. Systems engineer, these are the ones that, if you like to read, that's what they're for. They're the guys who have to know a little bit about everything, know the top level about all of the different devices in the system, and then present that to the company. So they're kind of like the tech guy that is the liaison to the customer who knows nothing. So they try to help know the whole system and be able to answer technical questions. They don't know everything, but they know quite a bit about how everything works together. Software engineer, these are the guys that blame everything on the hardware. Yeah, software and hardware, they're always saying it's each other's fault. So it's kind of funny. But that's doing a lot of the programming to make all this work, embedded software. A lot of our stuff is Israeli design. They do the hardware. They've already got the hardware done over in Israel, and when they ship it over to us, we have to do the software because that's the secret part. You have to have clearance for that. You have to keep that within the U.S. So a lot of times we can't hire anyone that's not got a U.S. citizenship because a lot of the stuff we sell and build at our facility is no foreign access.
Something I've heard is, for example, in Muslim certain materials, so they don't export their software either. I know that the other zone is based on hardware that was developed by the United States, and then when the U.S. was interested in basing some stuff with that system off of that, but no, if you
Exactly. We have that a lot. And it's, you know, even stuff that they send us, we can't send them, if they send us a technical drawing, because we have we'll call it an insulation between us and our parent company. Anything that they send us, we can't necessarily send them back without logging what we're sending them, how much information, even if it's the same drawing that we're just replying to the email, we have to keep a log and take certain precautions. We can't tell them how to do anything that's not already known on the World Wide Web or something like that. We can't give them information in the same way. They can't give us certain information. So that's another part of defense work that's interesting. Maybe questions, maybe comments. The Iron Dome, I wish I'd have thought about that, because one of my friends in Israel sent me a video of when the rockets were shooting from like back here in the summer, and the Iron Dome was working, and you could see all these fireworks in the sky, and it was their little missiles shooting down the missiles that their neighbors were sending over. So it's both scary and kind of cool to watch. Test engineers, these are the guys that test everything that we put out. We design the test bed and to make sure everything is going to work. And then component engineers, this is one that you can't hardly find a degree for component engineering. You have to find a component engineer and just learn under him and kind of work your own way. There is 2 universities that I know that have component engineering, but we just learn as we go. We take electrical engineering and we specialize into our field. So what do I do? The kind of things, component engineering, part selection. I do have some parts up here. You'll be able to see later. I need to make sure I stick those out. And so what we do is we make sure that our design engineers are picking parts that are going to be available for a long time. As you know, iPhones, how often do iPhones come out with a new one? Not a year and a half? Yeah. This is the iPhone 8. It's by far obsolete. Some of the service plans are fixing to stop on that one. So that's some of the things that I do is help find substitutions for the obsolete parts. Make sure that people are picking things that are going to be around a while, because it takes 2 years just for us to get, like for this to get released to design to start production, 2 years. And after we get it approved, then we have 1 year till our first production unit comes out. So you're looking at 3 years before it even gets released. So it takes a long time, but there's reasons why, and we can go through that a little bit later. Oh, another funny story I'll tell. So this is a mechanical engineers get to do this. But this is a commander's hand station. Goes on the Bradley. This is what controls the turret, the gun on top. So it's a glorified joystick, but apparently soldiers don't get that, and so they were using this as a footstool to get out of the tank. So we had to ruggedize it a little bit more, add this cover here to keep them from messing up our triggers and stuff. And so this is a little mechanical, it's just a metal flap that keeps you from accidentally pressing that. So yeah, we have to do silly things because we're dealing with soldiers that some of them are in where they are because they have not, let's just say they have not gotten their higher education. So, anyway, there are a lot of good soldiers as well, very smart, and we deal with a lot of those, and some of the stuff that I'll show you is pretty cool. So I look for we'll go into more of this. Part obsolescence, all those parts have to be around for a minimum of 6 years. So we have tools that help us predict those, how long it's going to be. But F-16, do you guys know how old an F-16 is?
When they were first, tell me when they were first put out.
Either one.
The 70s?
Yeah. And they started designing in the 60s, and they were released in the 70s. They are still the favorite aircraft for pilots to fly because they work, they're fast, and they're smart. And so they don't care if all the parts have been obsolete for years and years, they still want those. So we still have production. We do some redesigns, but it's like this vehicle here. That's what we're trying to support, is a very old aircraft. Have y'all seen Tom Cruise and the new Top Gun? And you saw what happened when the new kid gets in that old F-14? He's like, what is this? With all the switches. And he didn't know what to do because everything now is touch screen, digital screens. My company, one of the things we specialize is replacing all those switches and all those gauges with displays. We have, like, in every aircraft, we have 6x6 displays, 8x8 displays. We have head-up displays that go on the screen. And we design all those things to modernize the equipment. So all the stuff he was talking about with the other, the enemy's new computerized aircraft, the F-18 was the last one that could, still be manually controlled, so they could do things that the computer couldn't. So, yeah, technology is taking over. Apparently, nobody can beat Tom Cruise, though, right?
And with the F-14, the swing wing on that, how that even, like, I know it's those where we talk about but how are you handle that swing wing?
I would give that to yeah, that's one of the aerospace engineers that would take care of that. I would say, take care of it. But that's the kind of thing, because they had that so that it could land on the aircraft carrier. That's a huge. If you look at that compared to like an F-16, I went to a museum, aircraft museum. The size of these are so much different than the picture you see on screen. I just always thought that the little model that they were all the same size, right? So, yeah, question?
So regarding the middle flap on the stick over there, have you ever heard the best solution to the problem to use the most easiest one?
Have I heard that?
Have you ever heard that before? It's called like Hawkins razor.
Yeah, we hear that, and sometimes it is the easiest solution. Say that quote one more time.
The best solution to a problem is the most easiest one, or usually the most easiest one.
Yeah, a lot of time. Well, executing that easy solution is not always as easy as it seems. Especially when we got a 200-pound man stepping on that joystick. Part substitution, we'll go into that in a minute. Counterfeit prevention, that's another big thing that has come up in the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years. Lead-free, everybody's so worried about harmful things, asbestos, lead, all the good stuff, fire retardants. We can't use any of them, so we have to keep redesigning it for that stuff. Cadmium is a great fire retardant, and yet we can't use it because it causes cancer. That kind of. All right, so let's look at some of the toys. I'm just going to go through some of these real quick. These are a lot of the products that a soldier wears on their person. You're talking about 85 pounds of equipment that they're walking around with. I think it's pretty bulky. When I'm carrying ski gear and I get my ski coat and all the gloves and stuff, hand warmers, my lunch sticking in one of the pockets, my cell phone up here. I think that's heavy. And these guys are carrying around body armor, helmets with all kinds of goggles on them, targeting lasers, recon equipment, drones. They've got a beacon. I was going to bring the beacon, but I decided to bring the hand station instead. But we've got a beacon that's an emergency beacon. And it goes on, there's one that goes on the pilot and one that goes on the aircraft. And we designed that at our facility. And we have to be careful because when we're testing it, if we have the antenna attached and we're testing it and we turn that on, it will actually call, and we'll have the fire station and the police all coming immediately when they get that beacon because it's an emergency beacon, somebody needs help. So we've had issues sometimes where somebody tested, had the antenna hooked up, and sure enough, here comes the police knocking on the door, fire, ambulance.
I would expect you would have a room with the anti-RF values.
Well, yeah, you can do that, but it's a lot simpler to just not attach the antenna. But we do have that. We have several rooms there. We've got a dark room that we test. We have the JDAM sensor. JDAM is a missile that Boeing makes, and we took off the regular nose cone and put on our nose cone with little wings that pop out similar to the front of this, of the UAV. And so we turned a dumb bomb that you just dropped into a guided missile. And so it drops, it uses inertia to fall, and our little fins that come out on the front and the back control it so that it guides to whatever is being targeted. So a soldier has to hold the laser on it, and then on the target, and then that will guide straight to it. So we turn a dumb bomb into a smart system. So that part's kind of cool. But yeah, we have, when we're testing, we have to take it into that dark room and test out all the, make sure it can find its target and stuff. So it can hit within 2 or 3 feet of the target, the laser target. So it's pretty good. At least a giant hole there it was. Okay, this is a picture. I put this. This is a modern. This is an F-18 cockpit. You can kind of see. See right here. Here's the old one with all the switches. This is an old F-14 cockpit. You've got the gauges and everything, and all the switches and the handle for that. And then you've got the new cockpit. This is our display here, and there's another one here. Plus on his helmet. This is an older design, but on his helmet there is a lens that comes down and gets 2 cameras on each side that helps him look through the aircraft. So, and then here's, he's got a helmet cam here and a camera at the front, so that not only he can see where he's going, but his commander at the airbase can also see what he's looking at, see if he's paying attention, and they can see where the aircraft is going as well. So a lot of cool stuff going on. This is another, hopefully you can see fairly well, this is highlighting some of our stuff. This is the new model of helmet for the MH-60 helicopter. Here's a camera system right here that sits there and spins on the bottom, and then the pilot, wherever he's looking, that thing spins so it can see where he's going. So wherever he's targeting, the camera is looking at it. This camera has infrared, among other things, so when they're landing in the cloud or fog or dust, they can still see where the ground is and land. This is kind of some of the stuff that they get to see. Monocle here. So afterwards you can hopefully come up and see this. It's got a little monocle that fits right in front of the eye so they can still see what's in front of them as well as some of the stuff they can see. Any questions yet? Now I'm going through a lot of this because this is, what I do, component work, it's interesting, and there's a lot of different interesting things. But this is stuff that I didn't know about for defense work. I didn't know what I was getting into when I went to college, out of college and took a job. It was a job that allowed me to stay closer to home, allowed me to do certain things. And one thing I've grown to appreciate about working for defense is you work 40 hours and then you go home. And that is really nice because a lot of the phone market stuff, they're so, the communications engineering and stuff like that, they are so bent on getting the next upgrade out, the next design out, the next iPhone out, that they work 60, 70 hours a week, and they may get paid more, but is it worth it? I don't know. I like having my time outside of work to myself. So these are some other interesting things that is in the defense world. We've got something called Iron Vision, and that's the one I wanted to show you. It's got a video here, so hopefully that will work and not blow you out. And this is from my company. It's something they designed. I think I will. I'll give you a brief overview. It's a helmet with a lens here, and it's got 2 displays that shoot on a heads-up display inside your visor. You've got goggles so you can see inside the vehicle, but it's using cameras on the outside of the armored vehicle, such as the Bradley, such as the Stryker, such as the M1A1. You know, the drivers for those vehicles, when they're driving into a hostile environment, they were having to stick their heads out and look around. How safe do you think that is?
Not very well.
Not very.
Well, I haven't seen, well, I've seen, but also not seen because it was censored, but video on the news from the Ukraine war, and there was this one news clip that had the Russian tank driver. They were apparently using outfitted tanks with something which showing this one hadn't had a camera system installed on it yet. And a sniper just
Takes them out.
yeah.
The other way they drive is they use a mirror system where they kind of lay back and they look at like a mirror, like a periscope type thing. And so they're using that to kind of see where they're going, where they're not in that shot. Yeah, let me see field of view for sure. And it's kind of cramped and doesn't work. So this video is going to show you what the Iron Vision is, which is one of the things my company has been working on. The pilots for the F-35 have a helmet display where you can, basically it's got cameras all over the F-35, and wherever they look, it's got a tracking system on where they're looking, and it will show them the video from where they're looking. So it looks like they're flying in Wonder Woman's invisible jet. So they can look at whatever they're looking at, and they can see right through the plane. They can see enemies below, enemies above, whatever. There's no limit to their vision. So that's kind of what this video is. About 3 minutes long.
Elbit Systems presents Iron Vision for commanders and drivers. Another first from Elbit Systems.
For effective combat capabilities, you need maximum visibility, maximum control over your systems, and maximum readiness day or night. You need to see the hostiles before they see you. See first, identify first, react first. So when they handed me this, so light on my helmet, I knew I had it made. It keeps my crew out of harm's way. Up to now, armor and mechanized commanders and drivers almost couldn't see anything around them from inside the vehicle. But with this, we have a full field of view day and night for me and my driver. They call it Iron Vision. Now you see me, which means I'm exposed to enemy fire. Now you don't. Looks as if it's made all out of glass, doesn't it? Now I can see all around, even under closed hatches, so we are totally protected, and I get 360 degrees vision and situational awareness. You know, this was originally developed for the aircraft and the helicopter's pilots, where Elbit is the leader in helmet-mounted systems. Now, it was time that armored and mechanized commanders like me got the exact same capabilities on ground. We need full view and situational awareness with zero latency, whatever we're in. A tank or an AFV. Basically, it puts the C4I right in front of my eyes on top of the battlefield's view, so I can see both of them together at the same time. Besides that, the helmet brings the weapon systems to my line of sight. And when I need to see the full C4I picture, I stop the video on my screen and see through the transparent glasses the entire C4I on the tactical computer screen. With the smart TMR, I can switch any device all controlled inside my APC. So if I want to get on my screen videos from sensors or a UAS picture, it can be done very easily. Basically, it lets me handle anything, acquire the targets fast, and fire my guns first. What we call look, lock, launch, and really close rapidly the sensor-to-shooter loop. Elbit Systems Iron Vision really improves my operational capabilities and mission success. With no special studies, very friendly, and easy to use.
Elbit Systems Iron Vision. From the global leaders in helmet-mounted systems, for fixed and rotary wing aircraft, down to the ground forces. Providing updated combat situational awareness, capturing real-time line-of-sight video with zero latency. Cost-effective. Iron Vision delivers multiple operational advantages, all projected into one intuitive, lightweight, high-definition, head-mounted display. Elbit Systems. Next is now.
Pretty cool, huh? I got to try one of those on. It is really cool. You can, if you work real hard, you can see the inside of the vehicle. But just as you move your head around, it's got digital cameras, like four digital cameras facing different ways. They're all stitched together where you can't tell. And so basically you just look, the camera doesn't move like on the helicopter. You know, I told you, the helicopter spins wherever the head is turning. But this is all digital camera, so you just pick out the screen where you are, and digitally it's looking there. So there's no latency. It's like looking through the iron. It is really neat.
So it's only what you can about this, but are there like sensors you have to mount on the vehicle in order for this to work?
Yes, definitely. It's got the way we did it with this one, the older system used magnetics, different magnet sensors on top, and you had a cockpit inside we call it cockpit. Well, this was on helicopter, so definitely cockpit. Basically, it had magnetic sensors, so wherever the pilot was looking. Now we have a lot more technological, whatever, and so it just uses visual sensors and can tell where it's looking at and stuff. A lot lighter weight, so the pilots love it. So, good question. Other questions? Okay. So the things you don't see. You see the helmet, you see the display, but this kind of shows you all the little things that make up that display. So you've got the helmet, you've got a night vision camera, a day vision camera. You've got we call it BRU. I don't remember what this stands for, but it's a converter type thing. You've got all these little boxes. Each one, they call these LRUs, line replaceable units, because when you are out in the field, you don't have time to take it to a mechanic, you don't have time to roll it into the shop to look at it. So what they do is, line replaceable unit, the CDIU here is not working, so you go out, take it out, put a new one in, and you send this one back to the manufacturer to figure out what's going on. And so each one of our units like this is built with a box with connectors on it, like this one. And you plug it in, and if it stops working, You unplug the connector, unbolt it, kind of like the battery in your car. You know, it sits there on a little plate. It's got a strap that goes on top and it holds it in place. Whenever it stops working, you unstrap it, unplug it, and you send it in. And you put another liner in place and put it on.
And something I noticed, can I tell that seems to be a variation of the serial port we see on the older computers? So do you use the same connectors as civilian systems, or?
That's a great question. That's where I come in. That's one of my specialties. We have to make sure that the connectors will work in a high reliability environment. So it's very similar to the commercial ones you get, but it may be made of a different material that may be tested to a higher temperature. We try to, one of the things we're doing on this exact unit that we're having to deal with is one of the, so there's a clamp inside that holds all the wiring cables out of the way. So they have a metal one with Teflon coating that holds all these, it's a little bitty key clamp. So the whole job is to hold the wires out of the way onto the side so you can plug in to keep everything easily maintainable and neat. And so these are dollar parts, a little clamp, $1 part. And it's got to withstand up to 71 degrees C, which is hotter than I can stand, but it goes from -40 C up to 71 C, and that's what it's got to withstand for wherever this is going to be stored or used. And the problem is the manufacturer of that P-clamp with the Teflon on it figured out that they're the only ones who sell it. So guess what they did? $100 a part.
Wow. So you're going to have to find a way to find another manufacturer bring it in.
Exactly. We're not paying that. Of course, we could pay somebody to make one exactly like it, which would have a lot of NRE requalification to make this work, and then we've got somebody else building $100 parts. So we don't want to do that. We want to find one that's already in the commercial world. And so one of the ones we found was just the little nylon clamps, same size and everything. And we thought we had it made. These things where you buy 100 of them for $10. And we thought it was great. It would hold these out of the way, but the problem is at 56 degrees C, they turn into mush. And if they turn into mush, and then you've got what we call fog. That's foreign object fog. It's debris. It's stuff that gets in the equipment. So then you don't want FOD in there because you need a clean environment, because if these things don't work, if you're trying to shoot the enemy and you pull the trigger and nothing happens, you're in bad shape. If you're trying to turn the vehicle and it won't turn, or turn the turret and whatever so you can see something else, if it doesn't work, you're in deep trouble. It could cause equipment, $1 billion worth of equipment to fail. So we can't have a little nylon thing melt on us and then get in the way of other things.
Yeah, something I would think of with the nylon obviously is a general plastic. So what about using something that cures you to UV light, and like what you would have to mess like you would out of plates rather than film.
That's one of the things we're trying. We're trying some different things, but we're trying to keep it to under $5. So yeah, nylon won't work. So we've got material engineers looking at other things. We can't use just straight metal because straight metal tends to shape the wires, and we can't do that. So different things, different complications. But yeah, I could go and make whatever I want from Home Depot and make it work, but to get it qualified and to make sure it meets all of the needs of the system requirements, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you made a very large number. You in theory you use something that's where you find the equipment in house and you sure.
That's a good idea. Maybe we will. All right, here's the UAVs. Elbit makes the Hermes 900 and 450. The 900 is one that I think all of you might recognize. That's very large, a lot larger than this. This one is, I believe, it's the first version of either the Skylark or the Sky Striker. I can't remember which one. So bottom right is the Sky Striker. Skylark version 3 is the one on the left, and I believe this is the Skylark 1 or 2. We brought it because it was nice and light and had a great paint job on it. So anyway, and it is lightweight. This one, I believe, that they have just like a catapult launcher that launches it up and then the thing takes space. They have one that's slightly smaller, that it's kind of like you just throw it and then the engine takes care of everything else and it takes off and launches. One of the things I told them they ought to do is try to sell this to police departments and have, you know, like whenever the police are doing a chase and they need something, they have a couple of these mounted on all the cell phone towers around. That's where their charging booth is. And then whenever the police need one, they get they need reconnaissance, and one of those will just fall off and kind of details what to watch. And this thing just circles and watches and see wherever they go. They don't leave the helicopters. They don't need satellites to watch so you can call them wherever they go.
That's the only super problem with that is with the FAA, which can be used all, I mean, how they work. Every time, you know, the much easier to get approved, and then also getting back to the charger.
Yeah, and there's different ways to do that. But yeah, exactly. There's all these little complications that the engineers have to figure out to make that kind of thing work. You come up with a concept, that's the systems engineer, and then he tells the mechanical engineer, okay, I need you to fix this part, and the electrical engineer needs you to fix that part, and then aerospace engineer might have to, or not even engineer works with the FAA to find out what needs to happen. So, what time are we going to?
We're going to 7:30, but probably about 5, maybe 10 more minutes.
Okay. This is right out back. This is the Chinook. We had to go and see where our LRUs, we call them LRUs, but this is, we got to go out, get in it, look around, see where our displays and our different units were. Also, another thing, this is one of our interns. She works for me. But just to show you the size of these things, this is a pylon that goes on the F-16. It's huge. You don't think about it. We build little boxes here, this size, the size of your lunchbox there, and these pylons are filled up with different electronics. They each have a little space on them. And I took a picture. This is one of the labs because what they get to do, Lockheed will drop off this pylon and says, we need you to figure out something that will fit in this space. We're getting rid of this device so you can do whatever you need to in this space. So we get the interns to get it and figure out where everything goes and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that is cool about being an engineering student is in your junior and senior years, a lot of times you can get internships with companies like ours to get your appetite whet of what an engineer really gets to do. A lot of cool things. So, and the guy right here on the right, he started in my group as an intern too. Now he's a full mechanical engineer, been there 10 years, and he's like one of the leaders on creating we have stations, big command stations that fit on the back of trucks. They drop off the command station, kind of like that moving crate that they set in front of your yard when you're fixing to leave. It's about that size. They drop it off, and then it folds out and rises and everything. It has 24 computers on the inside. It has a generator that comes on a different truck, and they set it up. Within 30 minutes, they have all the technology, all the computer stuff, all the air conditioning, and then they set up all the other stuff around it, the places where they, the soldiers stay and stuff. This is like handcuffs all on the back of trucks. So he's working on that, and he loves it. But he's like, man, it was a lot simpler in components. Can I come back? Sure, come on back. So, all right, so, and let me see. So this is something that I wanted to be sure and I mentioned this part. For defense work, it's very important for our stuff to not fail. It's got to have a contingency plan. Everything has to have a fail-safe, because these aircraft are billion-dollar aircraft for one of them. Only people like Tom Cruise can afford one of those, right? So he's got his own A-10, but these things are very expensive, and if something goes wrong and they have to eject, that is this next article is one where a pilot died because the ejection seat failed to launch the chute. He had 7 seconds before he hit the ground for that thing to work, so there's no time for a pilot to be able to reach back and do anything manually. It's got to be computer driven, and it cannot fail. And the lawyer on this particular article is trying to say, hey, there were some counterfeit parts inside the ejection seat. And yes, there were. They weren't necessarily linked to why it failed, but there were counterfeit parts on there, and that's another part of my job, is finding the counterfeit parts and keeping them out of our supply chain.
Yeah, I heard that Lockheed found in some 90s they were coming from Xinjiang. They only found out because the company that was coming from China, the company that was making them was doing an audit for another customer into the camps in the region. And that was basically one of their subcontractors. The subcontractor was buying from that region to save cost and money and with all these elements for the military.
Right, and there's a difference between counterfeiting and knockoffs. Knockoffs are cheap imitations. Counterfeiting is where it's cheap imitation that they are trying to sell as the real thing, like a fake iPhone. This is one of my groups. I drove over behind to pick up the Skylark today, and we've got like 3 or 4 fighting vehicles behind our. We've got a Bradley. We've got one of these people movers. We got the acronym on that one. We've got a couple of Humvees back there, military stuff. So we've got all kinds of stuff in the back of our lot where we can go, and what we're trying to do is put new technology on it. So my group just happened to go get our picture taken in front of us. This is the Bradley fighting vehicle that we saw earlier. So we already went over this. I did want to talk about a little bit more about component engineering. So this is an interesting example, I thought. We have an obsolete part. The old, good, Red Delicious apple is obsolete. Nobody buys Red Delicious, right? It doesn't taste that good. It's mealy real quick, and we don't like it. So I've got to find a replacement for it. You've got a potato, which in Hebrew, the ground potato is a ground apple is what they call a potato. It's a ground apple. So the potato, obviously it's the same function, it feeds you, but definitely not the same fit and form. Looks a lot different. Or you've got the Apple Watch, Apple iPhone, Apple phone, Apple computers. They're same look, but they're not going to feed you, right? Different function. So what I'm looking for is the Gala apple, the one that will serve as a replacement. So those are the kind of things I get to do, except for it's a lot more complicated than that. I love this clip. the assembly line. We have people coming in, we have parts coming in by the thousands daily. And so we've developed some tools that help the people at incoming and receiving be able to quickly see if it's the right part that they get. And if they have any questions, they basically scan the barcodes, and if anything is wrong, it flags us. We say, okay, that's okay. And so we hopefully keep the supply chain from having to eat their chocolate. So, all right, this is also interesting. Tin whiskers is another thing that I have to watch. When they made us get rid of the lead, the pure metals grow little whiskers out of them. And for those of you who know about electronics, metal conducts electricity. And as you can see some of these pictures here, the little components are very susceptible to these tin whiskers that grow, and they grow out and they touch each other, then you've got a short, things fail. That's not good. So we've got different ways that we help to fix that. This is a little bit more about the counterfeiting. All of our junk, all of our old computers, all of our old TVs go over to China. They collect them, they break them down, they wash them in the river, which for those of you who know about electronics, that is not the way we clean up electronic devices. They desolder them by holding them over the fire, and then use a sieve to kind of shake around and get the parts to fall through, and then they will refurbish the parts and then try to sell them back as brand new. So here's how they're sorting them into piles out on the concrete. They let the afternoon monsoon rains wash them and clean them for the spot-free rims, and then before you know it, they look like this, and they're selling them by use of brokers. And that's one of the things I have to do is if we buy from a broker instead of an authorized source, then they have to submit a report to show me how they're not any of this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Something I know of, we actually saw this with Russia as well, the Ukraine war, where they started using parts from that have been taken, parts of commercial cameras to use in their
Cameras, dishwashers, washing machines, anything electronic, they take the parts out of them to use because
they can't get the stuff they use that I want.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So this is just a quick map of where some of our places are. It started right across the street, and now all the yellow places is where we have facilities. Different ones do different things. And then this is my component group right now. We just did an escape room in record time, so we were excited. So anyway, any questions?
Let's give Mr.
Some of the stuff and check it out and see how it looks, how it feels.
Before you do, so again, we don't have janitors, so make sure you take what you have with you and dispose of them properly. Do we have any more prizes we're going to do? Okay, let's come up. Okay.
So just real quick, you guys, as you were checking in, you probably were prompted with a couple of questions. I asked that you answer those questions. Some of those questions had to do with...
What can we do for you through this seminar? What are you interested in?
Yeah, so, because we want to continue building these seminars monthly. We already have some plans for the remainder of the year, but in years to come, what do we want to do? Additionally, if you're interested, TCC does offer an associate of science and engineering. And in the spring semester, we do have some of the courses on this campus that will tie into that degree. I do have a couple of handouts up here if you'd like them. I want to encourage you to register early, as soon as possible, right, for the spring semester. And hopefully we'll see you back here on Northwest and Jackson High.
Thank you, Dr. Foley. Remember to register for the next session, which is scheduled for February the 16th. The title of it is Commodifying Cannabis. the science and the history of cannabis. No, we don't have samples. We don't have samples. We won't have things like this that you can, but I think it's going to be quite interesting. Our horticulture department and others are going to invite an expert in cannabis. So, yes.
Okay, we've already drawn two, so this is for the t-shirts, okay? We have all sizes, so you can just come on up and tell me which size you need. Last three digits are 783.
What are you?
All right, next one. Last three digits, 782. Okay, last one that we're doing for tonight. This ends in 781, and this is for the backpack. 781.
Good go. Good go. All right. That's our class right there. Yeah, that's
Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Be safe. We love to see you back. Come up and be here around the bend here.
Like everybody in the